right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So, first of all, good morning. This is an amazing turnout. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Courtney, and if you don't know me, I'm the executive director of the fantastic organization MADVoters. And I have the privilege of welcoming you here today to our sit-in to save democracy. And MADVoters is proud to welcome you as we stand united against a corrupt and costly gerrymandering scheme that would steal our votes and silence our voices. It's a blatantly, pathetically partisan move, a desperate attempt to hold on to power, a cheap shot to subvert the will of the people. We are here to say, no cheaters in democracy. Donald Trump and the rest of the MAGA movement want to rig the next election, and to do it, they want to redistrict 5.5 years ahead of schedule, and they're asking Governor Mike Braun to call a special session to redraw our maps. But Hoosiers deserve to know that this stunt will cost us more than $30,000 every single day that our legislators are in session. Hoosiers were promised by this very administration that we would have more transparency. We've been asked to tighten our belts and do more with less and cut costs. Well, this redistricting scheme is just more intrusion from DC and a colossal waste of taxpayer dollars. Hoosiers don't want to be pawns in this political power grab. We're saying no to even more extreme gerrymandering that disenfranchises voters. No to a wasteful and expensive special session. And no to early redistricting that exploits the democratic processes that have governed this country for nearly 250 years. Today was made possible by a strong coalition of democracy defenders made up of organizations, volunteers, community leaders, elected officials, and even candidates running for office. I want to say thank you so much to our pro-democracy coalition for helping to coordinate this event, to our elected officials, community leaders, and candidates for sharing their stories, to the media for being here and communicating this important issue to the public, to the State House staff, of course, for hosting us, and to every one of you for showing up, whether you're here in person or joining us remotely in solidarity. Thank you for being here. This is important. We are just getting started, so please be sure that you find one of our MADVoters volunteers today and have a conversation about what our organization does and how you can get involved and take important actions to fight back against what is happening in our country. We, the people, stand united against attempts to roll back our rights and silence our voices. We stand here today not as an indictment of our country, but with deep reverence and respect and love for the ideals of America. We are the patriots. We stand united against those who seek to destroy our democracy from within for their own gain. We defend our democracy because every voice, every vote matters. And now I am pleased to introduce, hopefully she's here, our first speaker, State Senator and State Minority Leader, Sheilli Yoder.
Sheilli Yoder, the Senate leader for this state, and I thank you for being here. I proudly serve Senate District 40, and I am here to say, too many of us are afraid to say the truth out loud, but we are here today to do so. Donald Trump lied to us. He lied to you. He lied to this country. He promised greatness and gave us greed. He took away your health care and gave tax breaks to billionaire donors. And he knows you're mad. He knows you've had enough. And now, he knows he has to cheat to win. And if we don't stop it here, right here in Indiana, we don't just lose a few votes. We lose our voice. We lose our freedom. We lose our republic. But not today. Not in this state. Because we have a message for you, President Trump. Your enablers. Listen to us. We are the firewall. Repeat after me. Yes. Repeat after me. We are the firewall. We are the firewall. We are the firewall. We are the firewall. And today, Vice President J.D. Vance is meeting President J.D. Vance is meeting behind closed doors with Indiana Republicans. Not to help Hoosiers, not to fix our roads, not to raise our wages, not to fight for farmers, but to rig the rules. To erase votes, to redraw the lines, to silence the people. And if they can't win fairly, they'll cheat. If they can't earn your vote, they will gerrymander you out of existence. Let's call it what it is. It's not strategy, it's sabotage. It's not leadership, it's cowardice. It's not democracy, it's corruption. And they want to tell you, your vote doesn't count, your community doesn't matter, your judgment is a threat to power. Well, guess what? We're not letting that go unanswered. Because when they come for one of us, they come for all of us. And we are done being quiet. Every power broker in Washington, to every sellout in the Indiana State House. We see you, we hear you, and we are done with you. This state doesn't belong to your super PACs. This state doesn't belong to your donors. This state doesn't belong to Mar-a-Lago. No! It belongs to the people of Indiana. We are a line you dare not cross. We are the voters you cannot erase. We are the firewall. We are the firewall. We are the firewall. So to my fellow Hoosiers, hear this. If you believe elections should be fair, you're with us. If you believe politicians should earn your vote and not draw their own maps, you're with us. If you believe this country belongs to all the people and not just to the billionaire donors, you're damn right, you're with us. To J.D. Vance, to Governor Braun, to every Republican trying to rig the system and the rules. Not here, not now, not ever. We are the firewall. We are the firewall. We are the firewall. We will not be moved, and we sure as hell won't be erased or be cheated out. Thank you for being here and letting your voice and your vote be heard.
Thank you so much, Senator Yoder. Okay, next up, we are going to hear from Representative Ed DeLaney, who represents District 86.
Thank you very much, and good morning. This is a troublesome day. How many people here want J.D. Vance to come to this building? And why is he coming here? He's on a crusade based on corruption, cronyism, and power. That's who he is. That's who he speaks for. That's what he wants. Now, why is he here? Because when we did redistricting, the supermajority allowed us to have 22% of the seats in the U.S. House. Think that through. The Indiana Democrats, we get 22%. We get 2 out of 9 seats. That's what they allocated to us. And I mean allocated. That's what they decided. The Indiana Republicans decided we could have 2 seats. It isn't enough for J.D. Vance. It isn't enough for Mike Braun. Mike is debating in his mind whether we deserve any seats. That's where we're going. You do the math. You do the math. They take 1 seat, we're down to 11% representation. You take 2 seats, we're down to 0%, which is what they want. So, but there is some good news. There's good news. There's a lot of Republican talent. You know, we can have Victoria Smarts can be reelected. Just think about that. There's a talent. I challenge you, does anyone here know the names of all 7 Republican mice who represent us in the U.S. Congress? I worked hard. I think I got 6 out of the 7. We have no leadership, but we do have a good bench on the Republican side. We could send Diego Morales in. How's that? We could send Todd Rokita there. He's been there in the past. We could send a Christian nationalist who is our lieutenant governor. We could send him there. Okay, they owe us better among the 7. They deserve not 1 more seat. They deserve 2 or 3 fewer seats. So, you know, I sit here and say, I think I'm in the state where Obama got the majority in November. I think I'm in that state. And yet I find out that I can only get 22% or 11% or 0% of representation in Washington. How is this possible? This is a pure power play, and the main purpose of this power play is to put Trump in office 1 more time or 2 more times. I'm sorry. My good friends, here's the situation, all right? Trump has already disabled the Supreme Court. It is of no use in any issue of politics, all right? He wants to disable the Congress, which, by the way, does almost nothing other than vote for 1 bill to suit him. okay? The media has been disabled. He crushed CBS News, among other things. The universities are being crushed. So this is the last barrier. The last barrier to Trump ruling the world is the voters. That's all that's between us and tyranny is our voters, okay? That's who you are, and that's who you represent. Now, what is our job now? What do we do, all right? We have only 3 things to do. By the way, let me not forget, I'm in the state which has the lowest voter turnout in America. Can I say that again? And that's intentional, and Diego Morales is very busy making sure it's harder to vote. But that's intentional, and that works for them. Do you think getting rid of the Democratic members in Congress is going to increase turnout? No. It's designed to take advantage of low turnout. So what we've got to do, we've got to work towards voting. And how do we do that? We have 3 things we have to do. We have to do what we're doing here today, inform people. They have to know. They have to know that the President of the United States is hurting the corn farmers. They have to know that people on Medicaid are under threat. They have to know that we can't have a special session over Medicaid or food stamps. We can have it over stealing a congressional seat. If these greedy politicians go forward, we're going to have our own agenda for that special session. And it'll be about the deaf school, where we cut their faculty and where faculty members are swishing out the toilets because there's no money. We're ignoring the simplest, the most ordinary of our people to play power plays with this guy from Washington coming in here today. Okay, so the first thing is we have to inform people. They have to be told that Purdue lost millions of dollars in government contracts. They have to be told that corn is under stress. They have to be told that the rural hospitals are under stress. These people are geniuses. The Republicans know how to get votes from the very people that they're screwing, okay? I'm sorry, it's a miracle. But we have to fight that back. We have to become more angry. And I'm sorry, for me this is hard. We have to become more nasty. We have to make some of them more famous. More people need to know about our lieutenant governor. More people need to know about Rokita. By the way, Rokita, if he loses his law license, he could go to Congress. That would be, he needs a job, okay? All right, so first, inform. Second, mobilize, which is what you're doing. And I want to give a little sermon on mobilization. Okay. We have no room for single issue ideas in my party. I support almost every one of the causes in the Democratic Party, okay? The environment, which nobody talks about. Women's rights, which nobody talks about. Medicaid, I support all of them, but don't hamstring me because I'm not totally all in on one issue. We've got to be a big coalition, which is what we are. We've got to act that way. And we've got to cooperate with each other, and we've got to understand when somebody's a little softer on the issue than you are. Live with it, because the alternative is tyranny, okay? So let's be mature and mobilize. The last thing we have to do is to get the people to vote. Could we get to being an average turnout state? That'd be a huge accomplishment, I want you to know. We'd have to jump over 25 states to get to average. Think about that. But that's what we need to do, and we need to be registering people. Now, I've debated with my chief advisor, and she says, well, why would you attend a special session on, redistricting? Well, there are 2 answers. One is we're going to raise other issues. The other answer is we're going to mobilize around it, and we're going to use it to help drive up registration. We have to do that. We cannot wait till next year to register voters. We have to register them. And let me end on a personal note. I'm kind of a frustrated historian, maybe. There are some things that I've taken pride in about this state. It's not publicly of great concern. But this state treated Confederate prisoners of war, traitors, very well, and on this very floor there's a statue to Colonel Owen, who was the chief guard, or the superintendent of the prisoner of war camp here in Indianapolis. The Confederate veterans put up a statue of him, which you can see outside our governor's office, because we knew how to treat traitors well. We knew how to treat the Italian prisoners of war well at Atterbury in World War II. We knew how to treat refugees well from Afghanistan, not a few years ago. And now we're going to have something they call the Speedway Slammer. What Vance wants to do is leave us disgraced. That's what he wants. We can disgrace ourselves by replacing our congressman. We can disgrace ourselves by having prison camps. We can disgrace ourselves by shutting up when we're unhappy, which is what's going on. I don't want to participate in that effort to disgrace the Hoosiers. I want us to be proud. And the only way to do that is more seats in the legislature, more seats in Congress. That means more voters, okay? And we just need good candidates. We don't need particularly great candidates because they have such unknown losers holding in those seats that we can beat them, all right? So, get together, inform, mobilize, register, and vote. That's our task. And if so, that guy can go back to Washington with nothing, which is what he deserves. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Next up, we are going to hear from Representative Cherrish Pryor, who represents the 94th District.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's good to see you here, but not for this occasion. Before I start, I want to acknowledge a couple of my colleagues who are not here to speak, but they are here to support. So when I say their name, show them a lot of love, okay? So, Representative Vanessa Summers. And Representative John Bartlett. And there are also some of my colleagues who are not in this state, who we need to shout to the rafters so they can hear us. Our colleagues who are fighting for democracy in Texas. Show them love because they are the first ones on the front line. And I want to make a clarification as well. People are always saying, well, they're fleeing the state so they won't vote. They're fleeing. They're not fleeing the state. They're saving democracy, and that's what we all need to be doing. You know, this is clearly a power grab. It has nothing to do with fair elections. It has nothing to do with the people. It has nothing to do with the everyday things that we're talking about at our dinner table. This is simply an attempt by the president to stay in power forever. So if you can rig the system, and if you can get all or as many congressional members as possible, then I can stay in power for as long as I want, and I can do what I want. Because clearly, their policies are failing. They're a bunch of failed policies. Remember, during the election, we heard a lot of stuff. I'm gonna end the war in Gaza on day one. I'm gonna end the war in Ukraine day one. The prices of everything is going to go down day one. How has that worked out for you all? All of my prices are going up. I haven't seen anything go down. You go to the grocery store, you're paying more. Your health care, if you have it, those prices are going to go up. Our students who had loan forgiveness under the Biden administration, a bunch of those people are now going to have to start paying that money back. So if you were not one of the lucky people who had loan forgiveness under President Biden, we got to show some love for President Biden. If you were one of those lucky persons, you're better off. But if you were still paying and had a halt on your loan, then now you're going to have to be paying again. That's thanks to Donald Trump and the Republicans. But what we cannot do is sit back idly, which is so wonderful to see you all here today. What we cannot do is not put up a fight. We have to fight because our democracy depends on it. It's so unfortunate. It's a really sad state when we have people in power who don't care about the Constitution. You know, we can say that we love somebody, we can say that we love something, but those words don't mean a thing if your actions do not dictate what those words are saying. And we are not seeing, unfortunately, the love for our Constitution in our country coming from too many of our Republicans, and definitely not the president. So we're going to have to fight. We have a fight on our hands because we are fighting for the democracy of this country. And to take away or to change these maps the way that they are being proposed is crazy. Now, I am the Democrat floor leader, and I'm thankful for that, but I also serve on the elections committee as well. And I've seen a lot of bad elections policies come through the elections committee. In 2021, we gerrymandered districts to the point that they are some of the worst in the country. The absolute worst in the country. Not only for the state house, but also for the Senate. And now, having any thought or inclination to come back and redraw the lines for our congressional members, which are already gerrymandered. They're already bad. We only have two Democrats going to Congress. And now they want to possibly take both of those. So in 2021, when we voted on those maps, they were touted as some of the greatest. They were touted as some of the fairest maps. So are you saying now that they were not great? Were they not fair? Were they not the best thing since sliced bread then? That's what you were telling us. I guess they're not so great now because you don't have all 9 congressional districts. You want to figure out a way to get all 9 so that you can keep power and control. Well, we're not going to have that. And we're not going to sit back, and we're not going to allow them to steamroll over us. We're going down with a fight. What our focus should be is how we can increase the number of people that participate in our elections. Indiana has some of the lowest turnout in the country. But we're never here talking about how we can actually increase the number of people. We're always here suppressing the number of people that come out to the polls and vote. If we want to come into a special session, the governor can call us back, but call us back to talk about things that's going to benefit the people. Call us back to talk about how we're going to have more people coming out to vote in 2026 and not less people coming out to vote in 26. And why? So, you know, it seems like to me, as I think about this, we're going to a third world country in how we're going to be doing our elections. And that's a sad state when we have been at the forefront of so many things, sending people to other countries to make sure they have fair and free elections, making sure that people are able to vote. And now we're turning into one of those countries, one of those third world countries. We shouldn't be trying to be the number one at the bottom. We need to be fighting to be on the top for everything that's good and everything that's fair. And remember, our colleagues and our friends in Texas, they're at the front line right now, but we're quickly following behind them. Our fight today and our fight forever should always be for democracy and to save this country and to preserve our Constitution of the United States of America. Thank you.
So much. All right, next up, we are going to hear from State Senator Andrea Hunley, who represents District 46.
It is so great to be with you all today. It is amazing to see so many of you out here today. Turn to the person next to you and say, thank you for showing up. Turn to the person on the other side and say, thank you for showing up. Because it is a privilege for us to be here today, but it is a privilege that all those who came before us have fought for. You know that we are standing here on what is the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. Right. And when our voting rights are under attack, what do? When our voting rights are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. Absolutely. And that's what we're here for today. We are here to remind folks that we know what it has taken to get here. We know that it has taken 60 years of protecting our voting rights, and we are not going to go silently as they try to change the game in the middle. My name is Andrea Hunley, and I am proud to represent State Senate District 46 right here in the middle of Indianapolis. And my Senate district is right in the middle of Congressional District 7, which is one of the districts that's under attack. It's one of the two Democratic districts, Democrat-run districts that we have here in the state of Indiana. And we know that it's one of the two districts that they're trying to grab, but we're not going to let them. We are not. And so whether this is your first time at the State House, or I see many familiar faces, or whether you've shown up here in the People's House so many times before, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here today. Now, I will tell you that I was a teacher, and so, absolutely, shout out to all my teachers. And I know that for so many, school's already started. And so on behalf of the teachers that can't be here today, I'm going to take us to school for just a moment, okay? All right. Okay. All right, class, so get out your notebooks, get out your pencils, because I'm going to tell you a little bit of something about redistricting. and what that looks like here in the state of Indiana. Because I'm going to tell you that the Republicans have already been cheating on redistricting here in the state of Indiana. And I've got the receipts and the facts to prove it. Thank you so much to the League of Women Voters for doing a lot of homework on us, okay, for this. So what we know is that the last time that maps were to be redrawn here in the state of Indiana, and when we talk about maps, it's not just congressional maps. These are redistricting maps for everything from school boards to your city council, to your county councils, your townships. There are a lot of different maps that get redistricted. Well, the last time that maps were to be redrawn here in the state of Indiana, did you know that over 24 counties, 12 school corporations, and almost 100 cities and towns did not redistrict, even though they were required to? They just didn't do it at all. And a majority of those are Republican controlled. I want to be really, really clear about that. This is not a Democrat problem. This is a problem that your supermajority has allowed to happen under their watch. They have not been requiring voters to be truly represented here in the state of Indiana. That's right. That's right. And so you're asking yourselves, how did I not know about that? How did I not know that over 100 cities and towns weren't redistricted back in the 2020, after the 2020 census, before their deadline in 2022? How did I not know? How did I not know that there were nearly 24 counties, 23 to be exact, that didn't redistrict? How did I not know that there were 12 school corporations in the state of Indiana that didn't redistrict? It's because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know, because we know that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And so we stand here today making sure that we will maintain the knowledge. You are here, but you're going to make sure that every single one of your friends, every single one of your neighbors, your sister, your auntie, your cousin, everybody in your community knows that redistricting is critically important to protecting our democracy. And the way that maps are drawn matters. It matters. And so we're watching. Last session, last legislative session, we came into the State House and we put a fix for those places that didn't redistrict. We told them they had a deadline in 2025. They had a deadline to make sure that they redistrict, or there will be consequences, because we know that this is critically important. But let's talk about what's going on here today. Let's talk about that DC lobbyist named J.D. Vance, who's here coming to our State House. Yeah, let's talk about that. And let's talk about the fact that they have realized in the Oval Office that there's only one way for them to truly win in 2026, and that's to cheat, right? We know that. That they are stacking the deck so that they can redraw these maps at a whim. This is for the sake of power, not service. It is all about power. Washington is banking on Indiana being complicit in this takeover. They are banking on backroom deals going the way that they want to. Not in our house, not in our state. We are going to make sure that the Republican leaders that are meeting with that lobbyist, J.D. Vance, today, we are going to make sure that they know that we stand for democracy, that we stand for free and fair elections, and that we stand for fairly drawn maps, and that we're not changing the game in the middle of it. Right, we're not changing the game in the middle at all. So, when it comes to these backroom conversations that are trying to happen today, we want them to know that we are standing right here, that we are watching, we are listening, and we are paying attention, and we're holding them accountable. Are you with me? And so we know the folks that are in the room today. We got to make sure we call them afterwards. And we got to say, what'd you talk about? What did you decide? Are we going to have a crocked up special session so that you all can do a power grab? No. Right? So it's about us today taking action. Action is sitting here. Action is being counted. Action is making sure they know that we're paying attention. And then we got to follow up. We have to follow up because right now, Indiana's letter grade is a D for our mapping. It's a D. And we've got to follow up, and we got to say, if we're going to really redraw the maps, then let's talk about it. And let's talk about how to do it in a way that gets us to an A. Let's talk about it in a way that truly represents Hoosiers. Let's talk about it. So after this today, we're calling, we're texting, we're emailing, we're making sure that they know that we are paying attention. Now, I want us to still have a little bit of hope, though. I want us to have a little bit of hope. We got to have a little bit of light. Because I got to tell you, it's powerful to see so many people who showed up here on such short notice, who answer the call each and every time to stand up and show up and to fight. Because we know that eventually the cheats, eventually the liars, eventually the oppressors, they lose out. They will. Because the arc of justice will bend back. It always does. It always does. But it bends back because of us. It bends back because we fight. Because when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. And we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting. Because the bigger this authoritarian hole is, the deeper that we have to dig out to protect our democracy. And so with the strength and courage from our ancestors and all of the freedom fighters who have come before them, and with hopeful courage, because I will remain hopeful, not taking that from me too, we will defeat these oppressors. We will defeat them. We will. I want to give a big thank you to the other elected officials who are here. Give a wave to us. I saw my city councilor is here. Councilor Braun is here. Thank you, Jesse Braun, for always showing up. Thank you to all of those elected officials who continue to show up. And thank you to the brave people who put their names on the ballot. Thank you to the people who run when it is hard. Thank you to the people who run in deeply gerrymandered districts, because you know that everyone needs a voice. So to those folks who are brave enough to put themselves on the ballot, give us a wave, and thank you so much for doing that work. I see you. Let's continue to stand arm in arm. Let's continue to stand shoulder to shoulder, because our work never ends and we will never give up. When our voting rights are under attack, what do? When our voting rights are under attack, what do? Thank you all so much. Thanks for being here today.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much. Next up, we are going to hear from Representative Victoria Garcia Wilburn from District 32.
Well, good morning, everyone. How we doing this morning? All right. Well, I come on behalf of the silent majority. I come on behalf of the missing middle. Not once have I been contacted through our office about the need to redistrict. But what I have been contacted on was mothers losing care for their children with autism. What I have been contacted on is older adults struggling to keep up with their property taxes. What I have been contacted on is the lack of healthcare providers for all the way from mental health to female health to everything in between. That's what my constituents care about. So, not too long ago, on a floor above you, it was St. Patrick's Day, and there was a rally, maybe I'll say pseudo-similar, about property taxes. And from this podium, from this microphone, your governor promised to fix his campaign platform of solving our property tax issues. And they love to say, promises made, promises kept. But he's been so focused on what has been happening in DC and inviting person after person representing extreme DC agendas that have nothing to do with Hoosiers, that did we fix property taxes? Did we demand more time for property taxes? So if we're not convening on a special session on the things that Hoosiers really care about, the things that really impact our everyday lives, why would we ask for a special session for a subject that has been on the top of no one's mind? We shouldn't. So we need to ask Governor Braun to stay focused on Indiana. We need to hold him accountable to fixing our property tax issues, which now, the second and third order effects of that, will be a loss in public safety, loss in your local libraries, and an increase on your municipal tax. Are you ready for that? No! So I come on behalf of the silent majority. I am an elected official. You have elected me to stay focused on the issues that concern Indiana. And unfortunately, what we have at our hands now is we have a governor who's entrenched in DC politics, bringing DC narratives, and bringing tired policies that are not moving our state forward. So, we have a midterm election coming up, 2026. We have to be ready to vote like our lives depend on it, because it does. Your mobilization should not stop here. Write our offices, get behind candidates running for office, demand accountability and transparency from your elected officials. They work for you. They work for you. Hold them accountable. So I'm very thankful to be with you. I'm proud to represent portions of the cities of Fishers, Carmel, and Indianapolis, and I am committed to doing a new way, a new way. We're governing a new way. I'm beholden to you, the people. You are my boss. Let's bring back a people-centered democracy, and let's get to work. Thank you so much for having me this morning. Keep up the good work, and I'll be with you soon.
All right, next up, we are going to hear from State Senator J.D. Ford, who represents District 29.
All right, friends, I want you to help me do a little exercise. If you're able to, please stand up. Let's get this place rocking, shall we? You can. Stop, stop, clap. Stop, stop, clap. Stop, stop, clap. Do it with me. Stop, stop, clap. Stop, stop, clap. Stop, stop, clap. Let the governor hear you. Let my Republican colleagues hear you. Let the other JD hear you. Thank you very much. Thank you for indulging me. Friends, did you feel that? That is the power of collective action. That is the power that you wield. That is the power that Hoosiers have when we work together to send a message. And what's that message? Tell J.D. Vance to go back to Washington, D.C. Because there's only room for one J.D., and that's me. Friends, Hoosiers, my fellow elected officials, Today, we face a critical moment for our state and for our democracy. The Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, is in our state capitol today. Boom. And he is not here to celebrate our Hoosier values. He is not here to celebrate our Hoosier accomplishments. He is not here to invest in Hoosiers. But he is here to pressure our governor and our legislative leaders to do something that goes against the very principles of fair representation, to redraw our congressional maps. This is not what is best for Indiana. This is about a political power grab from Washington, D.C. It is an attempt to silence the voices of Hoosiers and to rig our elections before a single vote is even casted. You know, as mentioned before, our current congressional maps were drawn just a few years ago in 2021, after the 2020 census, as is our constitutional and historical practice. Now, we see outside forces who want to force a mid-decade redistricting ploy solely to eliminate the 2 seats held by Democrats in our congressional delegation. How much more do they want? This is gerrymandering at its finest, plain and simple. This is an affront to every voter in this state, regardless of your political party. And I'm asking those fair-minded Republicans, those independents, to join us to save our democracy. When we hear gerrymandering, I just want to level set. Some people may not know what gerrymandering is. And gerrymandering is the practice of politicians choosing their voters instead of voters choosing their politicians. It creates districts that are uncompetitive and unresponsive, and we see that right here in our General Assembly. Some of my colleagues, all they have to do is put an R behind their name and they walk away with 80% of the vote. They don't have to call you back. They don't have to email you back because they know the next election, they're good. So this ensures that politicians are beholden to the party bosses. This ensures that these politicians are beholden to their primary voters. So we must tell the Vice President and anyone who seeks to undermine our democracy that Indiana is not for sale. Indiana is not for sale. Because here in the Hoosier State, we believe in fair maps. We believe in transparent processes and the fundamental right of every Hoosier to make their voice heard by their vote. You know, in 2021, I served on our redistricting committee. I serve as the ranking minority member on the Senate Elections Committee, and that was such a sham of a committee. We ran all over the state showing people the current maps. And you know what people were asking us? Where are the proposed maps? And that's exactly what they're doing in Texas, folks. And that's exactly what they're going to do in the Hoosier State, because we all know what the outcome of today's meeting is going to be. It's not whether or not Vice President Vance is going to pressure them. He is going to pressure them, and we are going to have a special session. So when that happens, we need you. We need you in this building. We need you in those committee rooms. We need you in those chambers. We need you. And during the redistricting process, I remember clear as day that those maps split communities of color. Now, when we called them out on it, they said, well, what are you complaining about? They're actually getting more representation. But we all know why they did that. They did it to dilute the vote. Let's be honest about what it was. And on the Senate floor, ladies and gentlemen, and my non-binary friends, I distinctly remember asking my Republican colleagues did any person of color help you draw these maps? Did any person of color console with you on drawing these maps? And my Republican colleague says, I don't see color. Well, you know what? Damn it, we need you to start seeing color in our state. We need you to start seeing the underrepresented communities in our state. It is about taking care of Hoosiers. It is about taking care of Hoosiers. That is what we do. We are supposed to serve you. This is your house. This is the people's house. So I will simply close by saying this. To our governor, Mike Braun, to our legislative leaders, I urge you, I beg of you, I implore you to do not cave to this pressure. Uphold the integrity of those maps that were just passed a couple years ago. Uphold your word, your integrity. Uphold the state's elections that we had on those maps. Let's not let Indiana become another pawn in this political game. Let us send a clear message that in Indiana, we believe in a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming today. In the coming weeks, we're going to need you again. So watch our social medias. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. Not going anywhere. I'm J.D. Ford, and I'm proud to represent you in our state senate. Thank you so much.
All right, sounds like you guys are fired up. This is great. Next up, we have Senator Fady Qaddorua representing District 30.
Good morning, fellow Hoosiers. Before I share my words with you today, I want to thank first MADVoters for organizing today's event. So thank you for that. But second, I would like to thank the soldiers behind the scenes who made today's event happen. And those are our staff who work day and night to serve democracy. For our staff of the Indiana State Senate, we appreciate you. My friends, I come to you today with a sense of purpose and urgency. As one voice of a citizen, as a voice of a public servant. Raising the sense of urgency on a matter that has been the challenge for our nation over the last 400 years. 70 years ago, Dr. King delivered his speech, "Give us the ballot," and he said, "Give us the ballot, and we will no longer have to worry the federal government about our basic rights." He has not just spoken about the power to vote. He was speaking about the power to shape the future for every citizen so that every citizen is treated with dignity, with equality, with love as first-class citizens. And yet here we are in 2025, still fighting the same fight to ensure that our democracy is preserved for generations to come. But we know what the truth is. In Indiana, our legislative maps, even before the visit of J.D. Vance, have been rigged. They have been twisted, they have been packed and cracked to serve political power, not the people's will. They wanted to carve communities to silence their voices. They packed communities because they were afraid of their voices standing for justice, for love, and for equality. And let me share with you, friends, any political party on earth, Republican or Democrat, if it can't stand on the merits of its ideas, it's unworthy of governing. Let's fight to end gerrymandering and the manipulation of district lines for no reason except to suppress the will of the people. Let's end the conflict of interest between the interest of legislators picking up their voters instead of voters picking up their legislators. The maps were drawn to divide us, and they did that before. They drew the maps in the past. But guess what? Throughout history, this is not new. We've been down that path before. Throughout history, every time they tried to divide us, we came back stronger, more united, more resilient, and we overcame. My friends, this moment in time calls, as Dr. King said, for a new kind of patriotism. One that is not satisfied with superficial democracy. That warning rings true here at home in Indiana. In a state where politicians wanted to stay for long, so they draw their maps so that they can last for many, many decades in the General Assembly. Dr. King said, "Give us the ballot, and we will place judges on the ballots or on the benches of the South who will do justly and love mercy." Here in Indiana, too, we shall ask ourselves, do we want to elect people who represent our interests, not the interests of the multi-billion-dollar corporations? Do we want elected officials who stand for truth, for justice, and are not up for sale for the highest bidder? Dr. King didn't just name the problem, but he outlined the solution as well. Give us the ballot, and we will quietly and non-violently transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. So I ask you today, what if we, right over here in Indiana, become that symphony? What if we, students, workers, and organizers, and everyday citizens, raised our voices to say no more maps drawn in the darkness? No more communities split for political gain. No more democracy in name only. This isn't, friends, let me say this clear. I want you to remember this today. Take it back home, share it with everyone. This fight is not about left versus right. Let me say it again. This fight is not a fight about left versus right. This is a fight about right versus wrong. This is a fight about right versus wrong, and gerrymandering is wrong. Friends, rigged maps mean a rigged system. And a rigged system cannot deliver justice to the people. It cannot protect the rights of people. A corrupt political system that predetermines the outcomes for democracy for the next decade or more is a system that only preserves the interests of those who maintain power for their own personal benefit. But we've been there before. We've organized, we've marched before, and we fought this fight before. So I ask you today, will you join us in being the generation that will end gerrymandering? Will you join us to be the voices that draw the lines, not the lines of the maps, but the lines of democracy? The future, our future, cannot be determined only by few lines on a map. Our future is determined by our voices, and democracy will not die as long as you make your voices heard. But let me also share with you, everywhere I go, everywhere I speak, I hear constituents, friends, and neighbors say, what can we do? We feel hopeless. We feel that our voices are not heard. Dr. King lived through that too. And he said, he warned us of high blood pressure words and the anemia of deeds. He warned us of high blood pressure words and the anemia of deeds. We cannot just only protest and just make our voices heard. We need to protest and we need to make our voices heard, because that's how we reach out to the masses and help expose corruption. But we need more than that. We need what I have been working on for the last 4 years, and I'm here to announce to you again that for the 4th year in a row, as a state senator, I'll be reintroducing legislation to end gerrymandering in the state of Indiana. I will reintroduce my language and constitutional amendment to prohibit gerrymandering in the state of Indiana, and we need to put it on the ballot. If they're not afraid, if they think that they're doing the right thing, why are they afraid from the citizens to vote on a ballot to end gerrymandering in the state of Indiana? Listen, gerrymandering is the tool of the coward. Gerrymandering is the tool of the afraid. Gerrymandering is the tool of the corrupt. Gerrymandering is the tool of tyranny, and we will not let them have it. Let's do this. Second, let's support the amazing work of organizations in our state that fight day in, day out. Julia Vaughn with Common Cause is here with us today. I urge you, engage with her, engage with the All Indiana Democracy Coalition, engage with young people, and be sure that the best strategy to defeat gerrymandering is to increase voter turnout and flip those districts. And my friends, in the next 24 to 48 hours, I'll be announcing a large voter turnout initiative in Marion County, and you will see it on Facebook. Mark the date, September 13th. Mark the date. We're going to try to bring our community, and over the next 3 election cycles, we want to be sure that voters turn out in numbers that we flip statewide seats. I will conclude by saying that those lines that will be drawn in secret rooms will be exposed by your light. They will be exposed with your voices. They will be exposed with your advocacy. They will be exposed with your mobilization. Bring your young 17 and 18 years old to register to vote. Be sure that your next door neighbor who did not vote for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years is informed why his or her vote is important this election more than any time in history. Let's fight bitterness with boldness. Let's draw new lines, new maps of equity, maps of justice, maps of shared power. Friends, let's not lose sight of hope. We're a nation of progress. Over 400 years ago, we fought for freedoms. Communities were suppressed, from the indigenous people to our siblings in the black and brown communities, to our siblings in the LGBTQ plus community, to our immigrants and to our Latino brothers and sisters, and to every, and we fought for reproductive rights, and we fought for public education. And that cause, that fight for justice will never end till the end of times. So my message to you, the only way we can do this is not by sitting on the sideline. The only way we do this is not by complaining. It is not just by being angry. The only way we can show the world that we are a democracy, that we care about our nation, that we are patriots who place patriotism in the service of their fellow citizens, not against their fellow citizens. We do that when we show up everywhere we need to show up. I urge you, spread the message of hope, spread the message of love, spread the message of equality, spread the message of justice, and do not let the injustice of the moment deter you from what is right. Let's go to work.
That was amazing. Next up, I don't think we could have a conversation about gerrymandering and redistricting without this next speaker. Please give a warm welcome to Julia Vaughn, the Executive Director of Common Cause.
Good morning, friends. Good morning, fellow Hoosiers. It is so good to see so many of you here this morning standing up against this attempt to further silence the voices of Hoosier voters. We must not let this happen. I'm the Executive Director of Common Cause Indiana. We are a nonpartisan grassroots citizens lobbying organization that works to uphold the core values of American democracy. And those core values have never been under more stress. And I don't know about you, but I woke up this morning in a fighting mood. What about you? We are not going to let outside influences come into our state and further silence the voices of Hoosiers. It has gone on for decades now, and we are the last line of defense. 10 years ago, my organization, founded with the League of Women Voters of Indiana, the All In for Democracy Coalition, we have worked for 10 years to try to convince the supermajority in this building to adopt a fairer process. And of course, without an assist from the United States Supreme Court, who has refused to issue a ruling declaring partisan gerrymandering unconstitutional, we were unable to get the supermajority to listen to us. And I do want to underscore that we are gathered here on the anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, which is under attack. You know, this whole mess got started when the Department of Justice sent Texas a very controversial ruling claiming that 4 majority-minority districts in Texas are partisan gerrymanders. Wrap your brain around that. They are trying to do away with the last round of defense that we have against gerrymandering, and that is going to court over racial gerrymandering claims. So there is a case that will come before the Supreme Court next year, their next term, out of Louisiana. So we are watching this very carefully, but make no mistake, we will take any and every step we have available to us if they attempt to draw new maps mid-cycle. We will see you in court, Governor Braun. You know, back in 2020, our coalition, the All In for Democracy Coalition, we showed the people in this State House how redistricting should be done. We created a tripartisan Citizens Redistricting Commission. We had Republicans, Democrats, and independents, because remember, in Indiana, we got a hell of a lot of people who don't pledge allegiance to either party. They are independent voters. And they're the ones who are really getting screwed with all this gerrymandering, right? They get left out of the equation. Now, I am usually the kind of person who embraces our state motto of Hoosier hospitality. I try to live that. But there's one visitor to our state today I don't feel very hospitable to at all. I guess you're feeling that same way. So I got a message for Vice President J.D. Vance of how he should be spending his time in Indiana today. He shouldn't be huddled behind closed doors with our governor, our Speaker of the House, the President Pro Tem, scheming how they can take more voices away in Indiana. What he needs to do is listen to Hoosiers who are facing a myriad of problems since he and his crony took office. Let's talk about broken promises on lowering prices. Let's talk about a shaky economy, and let's talk about the very real effects that Hoosiers are feeling from state and federal budget cuts. Let's talk about that, Mr. Vice President. The last thing we need are new congressional districts. We haven't asked for them. We don't want them. Leave our congressional maps alone. The fact is, Indiana is already gerrymandered, one of the worst in the country, from the congressional level all the way down to some local city councils. We don't need more gerrymandering in this state. We are full up. Common Cause Indiana has fought hard to get Hoosiers fair, equal representation at all levels of government, and we will fight any attempt to redraw congressional maps in what is an obvious partisan power grab. We remind Governor Braun, Speaker Houston, and President Pro Tem Bray that their first loyalty must be to the people of this state, not another elected official looking to bolster their electoral odds. Governor and the legislative leaders, don't join this tit-for-tat fight, because the losers will be Hoosier voters. Thank you so much for being here. Do not go away. If this happens, we need you, and we need 10 times more people to flood this state house, to communicate with their elected officials and tell them we are not going to let you steal our voices. No special session for gerrymandering. Thank you so much.
All right, guess who's here right now? JD is here, speaking with Governor Braun right now. Community Advocate Destiny Wells. Thanks, everyone. Thank you to our previous speakers. Thank you for being here. You all are a shot in the arm. You remind me, you remind each other why we are doing this. That sneaky snake, he drove in. That was the problem. We couldn't figure out when he was gonna get here because he drove, the vice president drove in. He didn't fly. Yeah. Now a lot of us have been doing this for a minute, haven't we? It felt like maybe 2016 was just yesterday, but it wasn't. It was about a decade ago. And that we have persevered and we have continued. And I have myself been with you. We've worked to protect the vote. We've defended our Hoosier values. We've pushed back against bad actors that fall in the same realm as the vice president who is here today. The small fish like Diego Morales. The small fish like Todd Rokita. The bored fish like Governor Braun, who just can't find a gig that he likes, right? The only gig that he really likes is making sure that he kisses his POTUS's. And that's why I'm here today, to make sure that we pressure Governor Mike Braun and the supermajority Republican legislature to not redraw our congressional maps. Not right now, not mid-decade, after the census like you're supposed to. This isn't redistricting, this is erasure. Think about it. I know we've said the numbers up here earlier with speakers. 435 congressional seats in the United States of America. 2 of those are Indiana Democrats. 2 out of 435. And if they have their way, it will be 0. How does it make sense? The 16th largest city in the United States, Indianapolis, will not have a voice. How does it make sense that Gary, Indiana, and the region will not have a voice? Let's be honest, we know what this is all about. It's not just about Indiana. This is a part of a coordinated effort to rig the game before the next election. Because Donald Trump and his allies know that he will be a sitting duck in 18 months' time, under indictment, under scrutiny, and continuing to underperform. Do you see those jobs numbers, everybody? Do you see the jobs? So what is the plan? The plan is to make sure that we show up, that we tilt the battlefield in our favor, that we silence our opposition because we do not move. We do not allow them to change the rules while they still have the pen in their hand. And I want you to know that it's just not happening here. See, I lived in Texas, went to law school there. Just last month was back there talking to the mayor of their capital city, a thriving blue, weird as all hell city called Austin. We have things in common. I looked at the mayor and I said, "Hey, mayor." He said, "Who are you?" "Hi." I said, "We have something in common." "Oh, do tell me." "Well, when you were younger, 20 years ago, you ran for attorney general in a red state against this guy named Greg Abbott. Look how the world turns, right?" And I said, "You kind of got a little skunked. It's okay, I ran in a red state against a guy named Todd Rokita. We had about the same margin." But he's the mayor because he didn't stop. He kept going. He continued the fight. This is national, it's deliberate, and it is dangerous. But here's the thing, they keep forgetting one critical detail. The mayor down there, Mayor Watson, didn't disappear. You've watched me enough times now. You know, I'm not going anywhere. We will not disappear. You can gerrymander a district, but you cannot gerrymander our will. What do? We expose what's happening, shine a light on the vice president in this building, and call his visit what it is, a cynical power grab. We organize in Gary, we organize in Indianapolis, and across the state like our rights depend on it, because they do. This is the existential battle we have been talking about for the last decade. When we proposed the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, we knew we had to because we knew what was on the line. And when that vote came in, I'm going to tell you, I thought a little piece of me died. I went in my hole for a little bit, but I'm here now, I'm here with you, and we are going to continue to fight and make sure at the turn of the decade that we bring Democrats back into power, that we tell Donald Trump, you will be going to prison. Sorry. We are not pawns on their board. We are not expendable, and we are not going anywhere. We won't be erased. We won't be erased. We won't be erased. We won't be erased. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We have a couple more speakers. We're going to hear from a couple younger people. We have next up Raphael Manso Jr., who drove all the way from Northwest Indiana to be here to speak to us today. And he's with a nonprofit that he started called More Action for Students. Let's give it up for Raphael.
Okay, let me make sure this mic's working. My name is Raphael Manso Jr. Most of you do not know who I am because I'm from Gary, Indiana. I am the president and founder of a nonprofit that is youth-led called MAS, More Action for Students. We work in Northwest Indiana to get young people to seek higher education and become more civically engaged. I took the 3-hour drive and came here late because I forgot that you guys have a different time than us. I am grateful for the opportunity to speak here because our democracy is under attack. As someone who plans on running for office in the future, seeing my district being the main target of this disgusting gerrymander really hit me, and it was something I could not sit back and watch from a distance. Though the region and Indianapolis are so far from each other, we do share core values, values that deserve to be represented in our state legislature and our House of Representatives. My district hasn't had a Republican in over 90 years, and we do not plan on letting that change anytime soon. Frank Mervan has represented us for the last 3 Congresses, and he will continue to represent us. We voted Mervan into office because Mervan shared the values that our community has. The idea that everyone deserves an equal and fair chance. That Northwest Indiana can one day be what it once was, and even better, a thriving economy. A Democrat would fairly represent us and create legislation that would benefit our steel-making industry, our low-income and mostly people of color area, and our farmers and businesses near the lake. This gerrymander effort is telling us that they believe we are not able to make our own decisions. They believe our district doesn't have the ability to choose our own representative in Congress. This effort seeks to silence one of our least represented areas in the state, Northwest Indiana. Has historically been underserved, underrepresented, and disrespected in this state legislature. And that is something I will not stand for. We have a blossoming county party in Lake County and Porter County, and our municipal parties like Sherrville, Dyer, Highland, and Gary are booming and will continue to grow because people are waking up to what the Republicans are doing in the state and this country. It is disgusting. We are willing to fight till the last moment. And if this effort does pass and happens, our county parties, our municipal parties, and our nonprofit coalition throughout Northwest Indiana will fight to keep the original ideals of District 1 thriving, booming, and in action. Thank you for your time, Indianapolis. I hope I enjoy my time here. Have a good day.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting to see young people getting energized like that. Thank you. All right, next up we have another community leader, Jackson Franklin.
Morning, everybody. Thank you all for showing up and defending democracy. I see a lot of funny signs out here. Who's got the best sign? I saw someone said, "Don't F any couches around here." Anybody? All right. My name's Jackson Franklin. I'm a combat medic in the Indiana Army National Guard and a paramedic. And you could say I'm somewhat of an organizer in my community. We're here today to say no to politicians picking their voters, no to suppressing the will of voters, and no to the blatant fascism coming out of the White House. As we gather here now, Trump and his cronies know good people like you are organizing to stop them. They are overwhelmingly losing support all across this country for what they're doing. They're cutting millions of Americans off their Medicaid and cutting millions of food stamps, all to give tax cuts to their big corporate donors, create concentration camps nationwide, and fund the modern-day Gestapo known as ICE. They know an opposition is rising. They know that we are coming for them this next election. And they know if they don't fix our elections, they will lose power. They seek
to do what any authoritarian regime does when its people are turning against them. They cheat, they lie, and they take the people's power and give it to themselves. It's unacceptable. These fascists don't care about the people. They only care about how much they can control you. And it's time we stand up and fight back. Trump said that Republicans are, and I quote, entitled to more seats in Congress. So state house Republicans are changing maps to get those seats. Well, those seats are not the Republican seats. Those seats are the people's seats. And our elected politicians can either represent the people or get the hell out of our way. Who else here likes our friend Beto O'Rourke? Well, he said here in Indy just the other day, we need to build a democracy worth saving. And he's right. And you know what? We have made our voices perfectly clear on how we want to build that democracy. We say we need to repeal the disastrous Supreme Court decision, Citizens United. We say that corporate lobby money and super PACs have no place in our politics. We demand public funding of our elections. No more to this corruption bullshit. We say that an independent redistricting commission should create a fair map to represent all of us and not have the very same politicians pick their voters. That's absurd. The people demand that Congress pass the For the People Act to protect voting rights, end voter suppression, expand voter access, and ensure elections are fair. We need to implement automatic voter registration and make Election Day a national holiday. We demand to have elections, not auctions. This is America. We are the birthplace of modern democracy. We should be setting the standard for democracies across the world, not being an embarrassment to all of them. Together we will create a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's simple. We need to make voting easier, not harder. Radical idea, I know, right? This future is possible, but we're not going to be able to get there unless we all get involved and fight for a system that works to represent all of us, not just the top 1%. John Lewis once said, "The power of the people is greater than the people in power." Let me say that again. The power of the people is greater than the people in power. We must let everyone know that we are on the side of democracy and freedom, and they are on the side of fascism and chains. We stand united in this fight because we realize that authoritarianism anywhere is a threat to liberty and democracy everywhere. It is always up to everyone to protect everyone else's rights. We must get involved, and we must realize that if we lose these coming elections, people die. That is the reality of our situation right now. This fight is literally life and death for hundreds of thousands of Americans. That is why this fight is so important. Much like the late 1800s, we are living in a new Gilded Age, an age of staggering wealth inequality, runaway corporate power, rapid technological advance, rising imperialism, and a growing cry for workers' rights, civil rights, and human dignity. Sound familiar? It should. But do not let that shake you. Let it fire you up. Because guess what? Because yes, we live in the next Gilded Age. But what came after that? The progressive era. It's coming. It's our time as progressives to stand up and build a democracy worth fighting for. A time when people rose up. A time when workers organized. Women marched. Communities united, and a new vision for justice was born. And it's now our turn. We're not just here to live through history, we're here to make it. Together, we will build the second progressive era. One not of gilded greed, but of shared power of all people. One of not of oligarchs, but grassroots organizers. We are the movement. We are the future, and we're just getting started. We stand here today because we refuse to surrender our democracy. We refuse to watch silently as power is stripped from the people and given to a wannabe dictator. We refuse to lose hope because history teaches us that the greatest progressive eras are born from moments exactly like this. Together, let's heal democracy, restore power to the people, and forge the next progressive era. I want you all to commit to yourselves and to each other to action. That you will do what you can in your community to stand up and fight for our democracy. Countless people have died for the rights that these fascists are trying to take away, and countless more will die if they succeed. So please get involved and engage yourselves in our democracy. MLK said that no one really knows why they are alive until they realize what they would die for. As a soldier in the Army National Guard, I've already taken an oath to defend our democracy, and I would rather die fighting than not have liberty and justice for all. Our politicians take that same oath. It's time they uphold it. Once again, I'm Jackson Franklin, and I know one thing. No matter how they draw these lines, we're going to be giving them hell, and we're going to be flipping these districts. We're going to take the fight to them all across the state. No matter how gerrymandered, no matter how ruby red the district, they're going to know we're going to be there, and we're going to be fighting back. Because, say it with me, when democracy is under attack, what do we do? When democracy is under attack, what do we do? I said when democracy is under attack, what do we do? Thank you all very much. Keep fighting and keep causing good trouble, everybody. Everybody thank MADVoters and Amy Courtney for all the amazing work that they are doing. They're doing great. Take care.
Just appreciate all of you being here today, standing in solidarity against this corrupt and costly gerrymandering scheme. This fight is just getting started, and it's going to be all hands on deck. So, here are some ways that you can keep fighting. Number one, call Governor Mike Braun and tell him that you oppose any redistricting plan ahead of the next census in 2030. Get your phones out if you need to. Here's his phone number, 317-232-4567. Please, that's very important. We want Governor Braun to hear from every single one of you today. Number two, reach out to your state legislators. and let them know that you oppose this redistricting scheme. Their contact information is available on our website, MADVoters.org. And then number 3, make sure that your community is aware of what's happening so that they can take action too. We have just tons of information and resources on our website that we put out on social media, just tons of shareable educational resources that you can use to help facilitate these conversations. That's very important. And then number 4, on the broader democracy front, please consider running for office. Every state house seat and half of the state senate seats are going to be up for re-election in 2026. You can be a part of these decision makers. Plus, there are local offices like township trustee and even precinct committee chairs, one of the most important positions that we actually have in this democracy. They are the front lines of our democracy, and they work in their neighborhoods, so please, please, please consider running. So, couple of announcements. So JD's here, and sounds like he's hearing all of your voices, which is great. I'm hearing he might be a little scared. He's gonna run and hide after his meeting. He doesn't want to talk to the press. Yeah. So, couple things. So he is in speaking with the governor right now. So as we conclude, he can either leave on the second floor here, or there's an entrance out through the basement. It's a public area down there. I would appreciate it if some of you went down there to make sure that as he exits, he hears us. And if some of you could stay up here in case he decides to duck out this way, let's make sure that we have it covered. And I've also heard that there was an announcement that the FBI is going to be used to track down the Texas legislators who have fled Texas. Disgraceful. So a couple more actions today. Please stick around. So we are done. We are happy to stick around, talk to all of you, talk about what actions you can do. At 12:30, there is going to be a press conference with the Senate Democrats and the House Democrats. I'm told that Congressman Frank Mervan and Congressman Andre Carson will be speaking at that. And there will be national media there, so please, please stick around and make sure that Hoosier voices are heard. That press conference is right behind me in the rotunda, and it will start at 12:30. And then our friends at Indivisible Central Indiana are going to be hosting a protest this evening outside of the governor's mansion from 4 to 6 p.m. So please consider stopping by that as well. So once again, thank you all for coming. Be safe, and remember, when we are united, we are stronger. We can come together across the political spectrum to defend freedom, democracy, and truth, and hold our officials accountable. Thank you.